Hey, what's going on, guys? Tyler Teaches here, and sorry about that. Today I'm showing you guys how to make your video look better in Sony Vegas. So it's gonna be post-production of your video in Sony Vegas, and the tips I'm gonna give you guys today are gonna be pretty vague. And you guys might be thinking, I don't want vague tips. I want you to tell me how to do it. I'm gonna show you guys how to do it, but what I'm going to do that I think most people don't do, I'm not going to show you how to achieve one look. I'm going to show you guys how you can change it to achieve any look that you want. So the most important thing, go ahead and import your clip file import, and this is for Sony Vegas 11. It'll work with 9, 10, and 8, or 8, 9, 10, sorry. And once you import it, just don't even worry about trimming it, the whole clip or whatever it is. You're going to go onto your clip and you're going to right click properties, and you're going to uncheck maintain aspect ratio, and you're going to click disable resample. And the reason we click disable resample is because let me show you why. Smart resample. See her hand right here where my mouse is? See how it's like there's multiple, it looks like it's blurry and things like that. We're going to go ahead and click disable resample, and that's not going to happen. It's still a little blurry, and that's just because of the shot, but for the most part, I won't having like this like trail of her hand, as I'm doing hand motions and you guys can't see me. But anyways, once you guys do that, there's quite a few things we can do. We can add a vignette, we can color correct. There's two forms of color correction, color curves. There's quite a few things. So I'm going to start with what I think is the most important one, and that's color curves. A lot of people will just throw on the increased contrast. They think that crushing the blacks and blowing out the whites is like the best thing to do. That's wrong. That's not what you want to do. I always drag on default, and if I find one I like, I will save it. As you guys see right there, I saved one called FVI. It was for a video I made called Failed Video Ideas. And basically what you want to do is just mess around. See what you like. So if you see when you bring this down, it gets dark. If you bring this up, it gets light. I personally like it a little lighter. I drag across more than I go straight up. Just the slightest changes will make it look good. So I'm going to drag this up a little bit and drag this. Oops, sorry about this. Drag this down just a little bit, and you can already see the difference. It already looks a little bit more vibrant, and it just looks, it just looks more real, I guess. And that's one step you can take if you don't want to add like any funky colors or something like that. But if you want to, you can go ahead and click the red channel and then adjust this one for the red. So you see I'm bringing out the reds a little bit here, kind of like that. I like the greens too. Like it's a good film look. So you can bring it down a little bit and give it the illusion, something like that. I'm not sure. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that. My bad, this computer being stupid. So anyway, so that's what I was saying. You can change it. Like you can even go to blue and change up like the way the blue looks. Drag out the blues a little bit. I'm gonna try and leave those the same. So go back to my RGB and just mess with this a little bit. Bring it out just a little bit. I like the way that looks. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And if you would like to save it, you click this, type in the name here, and then just hit save. So I'll just title this one. It's not there, but once I come back, it'll be right here. So, I like the way that's looking, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to color corrector secondary. See, it's right here. I'm going to drag down the default. And the reason why I use secondary next is because I think saturation's a big thing. Some people overdo it. If you do it the right amount, it can make, the biggest difference in the world. So that's obviously black and white. And if you bring it up just a little bit, it just makes it look warmer. It just doesn't make the video look so dull. So that's one thing I do to kind of, I don't even know the word, just brighten it up. I guess it makes it look better. Another thing you guys can do is increase the gain or the gamma. The gamma is going to make it a little brighter, so I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and just do 1.15. And then I'm going to go down to the offset and do, and this kind of, maybe even a little bit more. No, right there. I like the way that looks. You guys can see we've already made big progress from here to there and now to here. This the most subtle changes make the biggest difference. You don't need to overdo it. When you overdo something, it starts to look bad. I might even be overdoing this a little bit. As you guys can see, my whites are still a little bit blown out, but I'm achieving the look I want. So to adjust this, you guys just have to adjust it the way you want. So as you guys can see, there's little things you guys can do to, you know, adjust the hue, and the saturation. The gamma's a big one because the more you drag it up, then you can drag down the offset, and it can give you like a darker look. But it's all about preference, and that's what you guys have to realize. Is preference is the one thing that you guys have control over in this situation. It's hard for me to talk and work. Sorry. You need to do what you think looks best. Don't go watch a tutorial on YouTube because they say this film look looks cool. The best way you can achieve the best look is by doing making it look like something you would want to watch. That's the best advice I can give. Make something that you yourself would want to watch. So I'm making this. I really like this. I like the way it looks thus far. I'm going to go ahead and move on to my color correction. I'm not going to be doing any of this in this video, but in some other videos I would be. Maybe for like scenes, like different scenes at the beginning if I'm trying to sync up with music. But what's really cool about this is it can change your midtones and stuff like that. There's stuff like this where the music flashes, like, and it changes with the music, which is really neat. And if I do make any changes, I'll always drag up the reds a little bit or bring out the blues a little bit. You see how that made a little bit of difference? Never really drag out the greens. Don't really like the way that looks, but I am going to drag up the reds just a little bit, brighten up the scene. The midtones, as you guys can see, is just kind of everything in the video. Maybe I'm going to leave those as center as possible. And then the last one is going to be the highs. And these are just the background, so these are cool too. Like I was saying, if you want to sync music, stuff like that. So that's stuff that you can mess around. You can also change the saturation here. I don't need to do that because I already did that in the secondary part, and it's almost the exact same settings. So you can come to custom and you can work with it like this if you want, but I just stick with the parameters just because it's a little bit easier. You can always go to color picker and it'll pick the color for you. Things like that. So that's just another way that you guys can edit like the look of your video. And the last one I'm going to highlight today, not HTML, just my bad, is going to be the vignette. It's going to be add a vignette effect, and you're going to go to soft contrast for that. I'm going to click this, and that kind of added a lot of contrast. I don't like the way that looks, so I drag the contrast all the way down. Some people overdo the contrast. You don't need to do that. Never overdo the contrast. The stretch range, it just kind of, it's not, like you guys can see this, the lights get bigger. I'm actually going to drag that all the way down as well. And I'm going to go to the vignette effect. Alright guys, so we're here at the vignette effect. It's in soft contrast. And basically, once we get here, let me go ahead and just, okay, exit out that. I'm just going to drag on the warm vignette, that way you guys can get a sense. That looks too, the only reason I really don't like the way that looks is because of the contrast. The contrast is way too high. I'm also going to go here and bring down the strength a little bit. I think it was a little bit too much. And then you can go and drag, this up, just kind of mess with the edges. All it's doing is making it a little darker. You can also do a blur effect where it just kind of blurs out the edges. But I'm just going to stick with the black because I kind of like the way that looks. What it does is supposed to isolate the image in the middle. And that's pretty much it for post-production, guys. I do have some packages I'm going to show you guys because, like, presents, yay. What I mean by that is there's something called Magic Bullet Looks, and that gives you a whole bunch of like standard settings of color corrections and color grades that you can use for your video. And I'm going to go over that for a little bit, not now, but in another tutorial. And there's some other things I know how to do in After Effects. But this is pretty much it for Sony Vegas. I know I didn't go over everything. There are a lot of other things you can do to make your video look better. But this is all about personal preference, guys. Remember that. If you guys take anything out from this video, let it be. Make something that you yourself would want to watch. Thanks, guys.